Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Deputy Speaker, my grievance tonight is about the many barriers that are faced by many of my constituents in gaining meaningful employment. I especially want to focus on those constituents who are from Iraq and Syrian backgrounds who've settled in Calwell here on the special humanitarian visa. This is a very highly skilled cohort with extensive work experience in their professional fields. Deputy Speaker, I often will meet with my communities, my refugee communities. I want to get an understanding of how they are settling in my electorate, and we often talk about their needs, we talk about their aspirations. We have lots of discussions about how they are making adjustments to their new life here in Australia and to their new community, how they are going with the English language program that many of them are enrolled in, and of course almost always how they're going with getting a job. The single issue, Deputy Speaker, for most of my constituents outside of the concern for their children and their children's schooling is, of course, employment. And I can say to you, and I can say to this chamber, that most of them, a great number of them, continue to experience huge difficulties in getting a job, or a proper job, as they say to me, an appropriate job, one that's relevant to their education, to their training and to their experience. So they face incredible challenges in getting a job, and Deputy Speaker, I'm concerned that we have a cohort, certainly one in my electorate, of people who are trained and qualified in a way that we here we've not found a way to accommodate this training and these qualifications because we don't recognise them. So therefore it's creating a huge problem for my constituents. Now, as part of the humanitarian settlement program, my constituents have access to the Job Active Network providers. Now, if you look at the website of the Department of Employment, Skills, Small and Family Business, it states that the Job Active Providers service is one that connects job seekers with employers and is delivered by a network of job active providers in over 1,700 locations across Australia. About 20 of those job active network providers are located in my electorate, and they are located from the suburbs of Craigieburn to Broadmeadows and across to Tullamarine. Now, over time, I do visit these job network providers, and we talk about the nature of their service delivery and the issues that they face in placing people into work. But their frustration doesn't equal the frustration that is felt by the job seekers who feel that, far from anything, the job network providers are not connecting them with jobs or with real meaningful jobs, as they say to me. And again, this is largely because this refugee cohort has to constantly deal with the pushback from many prospective employers that they're not qualified for a particular job, even though they have these incredible qualifications. Deputy Speaker, it's a concern for me, and it's a concern that when I do speak to my constituents, they often feel that they are forced to accept roles or jobs that are inadequate. They're certainly underemployed, and often they are pressured to accept these jobs because if they don't tick the boxes, then they may have their benefits cut, which would be a real problem for them. It's not that they don't want to work. I think their major frustration with this group of people is that they feel that they are simply not able to make the sort of contribution that they want to make in the areas that they are qualified for and educated for. So for many of them, it's a bit of, well, humiliation is an understatement, but they will often tell me that they feel humiliated by this rejection of their qualifications. I did feel that I wanted, and they were very happy for me to tell some of their stories, so I'm going to do that because it's very important to develop a picture or a profile of the sorts of people that we could as a community benefit from too, if we could find a way to accommodate them. Luma is a constituent from Roxburgh Park. She is an electrical and communications engineer. She has, prior to coming to Australia, she has 21 years of work experience as an engineer in Iraq, and she has had a successful career until, of course, that was cut short and she was forced to flee Iraq as a refugee and come and live in Australia. When Luma attended one of her first interviews with her Job Active network provider, she was told by her case manager that she would never, ever find a job in her field. Needless to say, that came as a bit of a shock to her. Instead, she was obviously she was given a job that she could go to, and it was a job as a cleaner, and she felt that, although necessary to work, she felt that she could make a bigger contribution, a better contribution, and definitely wanted to continue on exercising the skills and qualifications that for the last 21 years she had done so in Iraq. So Luma says to me, I actually don't understand why I'm not matched up with jobs that match my qualifications. Recently, I held a forum in my electorate, and I was surprised to see some 400 people attend that forum. All of them were recently arrived refugees. Some had been here for a period of more than 3 years, and they'd all come here under the humanitarian settlement program. All of them felt that they have not been adequately given the opportunity to use their skills. But I do want to suggest that we have a look at a program or an initiative that is being led by the Victorian government that has recognised this gap in this potential, and in recognition that we're about to outlay a large infrastructure programs and the skill shortages associated with that, the state government has identified the need for trained and qualified engineers, and they've created an engineering pathway industry cadetship, which is a program that will exclusively recruit engineers from refugee or asylum seeker backgrounds by fast-tracking and removing those barriers that prevent them from being employed in those fields. It will allow qualified engineers from diverse and difficult backgrounds to start their career by working on these major transport infrastructure programs in Victoria. This program will partner with AMEP, the Melbourne Polytechnic and the Kangan Institute, and it will be in collaboration with La Trobe University and their partner, Engineers Australia. And they recently held a focus group in my electorate where they introduced the Pathways to Engineering initiatives. I want to thank Carol Pondevi-Lay, who is the Community Liaison and Engagement Manager at the Melbourne Polytechnic, for actually spearheading this initiative. And through the delivery of the AMEP program at the Melbourne Polytechnic, they had realised that they had a lot of students who were skilled in engineering, and I'm going to be very, very interested to see how this program, this fast-tracking initiative, actually succeeds in finding pathways, fast-tracking pathways for people who have got this sort of experience and qualification, and matching them up with jobs that are identified as a skill shortage. And so we're all very excited about this. Engineers Australia supports Australians' migration policy by allowing engineering qualifications to be recognised Australia-wide. So with this initiative, we will see La Trobe University create a 1-year fast track for skilled migrants into a workforce familiarisation training program, and this will be of benefit to everyone. And I suggest that when we're reviewing some of the way that the job network providers are operating, that we may consider in a more creative way how we can fast-track some of our skills in a way that allows people to work in meaningful jobs.
Thank you.